Hello, my name is Frank McKenna. I'm here at UC Berkeley working for the NERI SimCenter, which is a National Science Foundation funded project. In this video, I intend to demonstrate how to install and test NERI SimCenter research applications on a computer running the Windows 10 operating system. SimCenter releases a number of research applications. This install video applies to each. The only difference will be when we come to testing qofam. Its testing procedure is slightly different from the other applications. The install steps, there are 5. First of all, we're going to create a directory on the computer in which we're going to place the SimCenter software. Then we're going to install Python, install some Python modules, download the SimCenter software itself, and then finally test the installed software. If you need any help with the installation, each of the tools does have its own online manual. In that manual, there is a section on the installation process in which the steps are provided in more detail. And if you need further help, we do have a message board with a forum dedicated to each of the SimCenter tools, so you can browse and post questions at that location. So let me now bring up a VM running Windows 10. So here is our virtual machine. The first thing we want to do is we want to create a folder in our C drive called SimCenter. To do this, I'm going to open up the Finder File Explorer. I'm going to find my computer, which is down at the bottom, I think. Here it is, C drive. In here, we're going to select New Folder, and we're just going to name this folder to be SimCenter. So I've now created a folder, SimCenter, in my C drive. That was step 1. Second step, we want to install Python. I'm going to go to google.com. And in Google, I'm going to search for python.org download. So the download page here. So the current version 3.85. I'm not going to download 3.85. I'm going to download the latest version of 3.7. So if I click on here, 3.7. Here's the latest 3.7, 3.7.8, June 2020. I'm going to do the Windows x86 executable installer. So this is the third option here. I'm sure they all work. Okay, that is downloaded. I'm now going to install it here. The important thing here, when you click the install, add Python 3.7 to path. You want to make sure this the checkbox is clicked. If it's not clicked, you've got to do a whole bunch of work later. So again, make sure this checkbox is clicked, and then just do the install now. So once that checkbox is clicked, just press install now. Yes. So now it's finished. We can close the application. I'm going to minimize this for a second. The second thing we needed to do was install some modules. To do that, I'm going to enter a command in the search, and it's going to bring up this command prompt application. So this is the application we want to start. So now Python should be on my path, so I want to do pip install, and we're going to install Pelican, the package Pelican, which will, as mentioned in the documentation, install a number of other packages which are needed by the application. Okay, the packages have been installed. So we've now done the first 3 steps. So I'll now open back up my browser. We'll go back to Google. And we will now download one of the SimCenter applications. So let's just pick EEUQ, SimCenter, EUQ in our search. It will bring us, the second one down is the EU application. So we're going to select that application. Over here on the right, we have 3 links. Download app being the first one. I'm going to click on the download app. It will bring us to another design safe web page. Here is that web page. We have a DMG, which is for a Mac, and the Windows download.zip. That's the file we want to download, so we're going to click on this. Once this little spinny thing has stopped spinning, we then select the download button. Okay, now we select download. And we want to save this, so we'll save it. So now it's finished downloading. We can open it up. And here's our EUQ, we're going to extract all. We will place that now in that C SimCenter folder. So there's C SimCenter. So we select that folder, and then we type extract. So that will place all the executable and all the files it needs into that C SimCenter folder. Okay. So let's just clean the stuff up a bit here. I'm going to close all these windows. Close all the tabs. Let's go back to our Finder. We'll go to the C SimCenter folder here. So here's SimCenter. Now we have this folder there, EEUQ. And EEUQ, we have all this stuff that just got downloaded and extracted. One of these files is the application EEUQ. I'm going to right click on this application and I'm going to tell it to create a shortcut. There's our shortcut. And I'm just going to move this shortcut to my desktop here. And then I'm going to close this folder. So now to run this EEUQ application, I'm just going to double click on the shortcut. Because we're not a Windows recognized developer, we get this when we pop it up. So if we select more info and go run anyway, we have to do this the first time. And here's this error that you can get. This is because there's absolutely nothing installed on this computer. So let me close this now. So I'm going to have to go back to this folder. And the reason is that the SimCenter stuff is developed with Visual Studio. There's no applications installed on this computer yet. So this Visual Studio runtime has not been installed. So down at the bottom of this folder, this VC Redis X64, you need to double click on that. Say you agree and do install. The chances are you're running some application that was built with Visual Studio if you're running Windows 10, so you will not have to do this. Okay, so that Redis util has been installed. So now when we double click on the EEUQ application, up it comes. So the first thing we're going to do on the left side here, we're going to click on the Sim tab. We're going to change that number 144, the floor weight. We're just going to give it WF. Indicate weight of the floor. I'm going to come to the random variable tab. For the WF, leave it as a normal distribution. I'm going to enter a mean of 150 and a standard deviation of 10, and then I'm going to select run. This will start the application running in the back end, and when it's done, here in a second or two, it should pop up and show me results. If it shows me results, basically the install of EEUQ has been successful. So there we have it. The install was successful. We're getting results. We can look on the data values. See, we get a little graphic. We got 20 results. And I believe the default here, yes, the default is 20 samples. So there we have it. We have downloaded and installed and tested EEUQ application. Those same install and testing steps work also for WiiUQ and PBE. So the intent now is to show you how to test the install of qofam. So I'm going to exit the WiiU application. I'm going to go back to my folder browser, go back to Google. With Google, I'm going to search for qofam and SimCenter. Again, it brings us to our application. This time we're the first application there. And again, go to the download app. I'm going to select windows.zip download.zip. When it stops spinning, I select download. Well, this time, why don't we just do open the thing when it's done. Okay, so it's downloaded. Now we're just going to go extract all again. We're again going to pick that SimCenter folder. So SimCenter, select that folder. Again, just check it is SimCenter, go extract. So this again will now extract all the files necessary to run the application and put them in that location. So inside SimCenter we have qofam and EUQ. If I open up the qofam, again down here I'm going to have the application. There's that redistributable if I need to use it. So I'm going to right click on this and create a shortcut again. I'm going to copy that shortcut again to my desktop. And the reason I do this is just so that I don't have to come into this folder and figure out which of these is the application. So now I can close these again. So if I start qofam, it should start running. Again, more information. Because we're not a developer, we're going to select run anyway. And now this time, because the redistributable has been installed, it starts right away. Unfortunately, I can't test this without any files on the system. So let me quickly get a file for you and show you how to test it. So if I go to the help and I go to the manual, it should pop up my browser again. And we have a number of examples. And also in the developer manual, we have a little section on verification. In here we have presently one example. If you want to follow the example, how to go through it individually, you can go look at the bottom of the web page, but I'm going to do this quickly. So what I'm going to do, here's a Python script. There's also a Tickle script. I'm just going to copy the Python script. So I'm going to go Control-C this. I'm going to close my browser. Now I need to get this into a file. I'm not a Windows user, so I'm going to quickly create a test file. I'm going to do this inside the terminal. Windows users will probably know a much better way to do this than me. So I just need to create a file, call it test.py, and in test.py I'm going to paste that stuff I just copied. So I'm going to go to SimCenter, so cd SimCenter, center. I'm going to make dir test. I'm going to cd test, and I'm going to text edit test.py. Nope, notepad. Notepad test.py. There we go. Okay, create a new file, yes. And then I'm going to just Control-V, copies all that data I just had. I'm going to do file save, and I'm going to close this down. Okay, so I'm back to qofam. Just quickly check that I have that file, so I'm going to open up the file browser. SimCenter, I have this test, and there's that file test.py. Okay, so that is a Python script. So for my finite element application, I'm going to choose OpenCSPY. I'm going to choose my script, which is SimCenter test.py. I'm going to open that. So I've specified that as my input script. The script, if you have a look at the documentation, needed 4 random variables, x1, y1, x2, y2 for the 2 points. They all have a uniform distribution. So I'm going to change these all to uniform. So the x is varied between 0 and 1, and the y is varied between 0 and 0.6. Again, look at the documentation to see what example I'm trying to imitate here. So the x is between 0 and 1, and the y is between 0 and 0.6. Okay, so now I have 4 random variables, x1, y1, x2, y2, all lowercase x and y. I need one quantity of interest. I'm just going to call it d. With that done, I'm going to run this. Okay, and there we get the answers, 0.423, I think 0.43 something is the exact answer. So with that, I'm done. I've demonstrated how to download, install, and test 2 of the SimCenter applications, and I've left little shortcuts on the main window in my desktop to run them quickly. So with that I'm done. Thank you for watching.